It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Stroud is set again. Oh, John, boom.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defended in the corner.
To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker. Kenneth Walker. Touchdown. Smarty.
Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, ends up.
Yes.
Caught. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. They did it. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end.
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here. A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Anthony will be joining us shortly. You can seize if you're watching on YouTube or BCSN. Oh, look at that. Look at it, just popped up. He's going to join us here in a second. Yeah, he's there. It's just he can't talk to us yet. But he's coming. There he is. Hi, Anthony.
So I kind of heard you, but not really. Like I could barely hear you. I don't know why.
Maybe like through the iPad?
No, it's not. It's not that. It is. It's almost as if. How do I explain this? It's almost as if like I'm not in program, like I'm not hearing that on your end. Does that make sense?
Oh,
there you go.
there we go.
There you go. All
I
right.
wasn't in audition, but I was in program, so you couldn't hear me, but everybody else could.
Okay, well, hey, as long as everybody else could, that is great. We haven't had one of those problems in a while, thank God. But man, I mean, welcome into the program, everybody. How is everybody this morning? Everybody doing all right? X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. You know the deal. I almost didn't even show up this morning because, you know what, to be quite honest with you, why would any of us show up anymore? I mean, we spent an entire season showing up, just waiting for all the bottom to fall out and tanking and all that good stuff, and then pretending like we're not tanking and trying to call it roster management and all this other BS. And the whole time, everybody knew that the team was trying to lose games, and they went out there and they lost about as well as anybody's ever lost in the history of the game. I mean, they put together one of the most pathetic seasons in the entire history of the franchise. In fact, they were just one win more than the worst record that the franchise has ever had. That was set back in 1978, 79, whatever that was. And then, of course, last night we get ready for the NBA lottery. Lots to talk about on the NBA lottery. Lots to get to. But, yeah, the ping pong balls are bouncing around. And somehow, some way, outside of having an equal opportunity to get the first pick along with 2 other franchises, they have the highest odds of getting the 5th pick, which doesn't make any sense at all. But that's the way the NBA does it because the system is broken, and that's where the Pistons end up. So that's what you get. That's what you deserve. My only consolation last night was watching Nikola Jokic beat it over the head of Mark Jackson for 4 straight quarters of just ungodly play so that Mark Jackson can sit there like an idiot, like an absolute clown that he didn't have Nikola Jokic. Oh, I'm so sorry. Act like it's an oversight. Come on. I know what you're up to over there, Mark Jackson. It's not hard to tell. I know what you're doing. But that's cool. That's cool. Leave him off your MVP ballot. The only person to do so. Go ahead. I know what you're on, Mark Jackson.
Joker had like one of the best quarters in like NBA history in the first quarter yesterday. It was
15, 5, and 5 or something crazy.
Literally, it was
8, 12, and 5,
and 2 blocks. The only guy ever to meet those minimums in a quarter.
Jeez, that's such a LeBron stat. The only person to ever do this on a Tuesday night after 4 days of rest.
It is crazy to have 8 points, 12 assists.
Listen, there's only
12 rebounds.
There was only one person that could take down LeBron on a Taco Tuesday in the Western Conference Finals, and that's the big quesarito in Nikola Jokic.
I love it. I love it. Anthony Davis had himself a ball game. That was a matchup of heavyweight titans, but more other guys. And Hillbilly Kobe, he definitely showed up. But more other guys showed up for the Lakers, or for the Nuggets, than they did for the Lakers, and that was it. But we'll get into that. We'll talk to John Wagner.
Does it make you sick seeing KCP being a good role player on a good team? Because we thought he was Steph Curry. Guess what? He's like the eighth dude on a good team.
That's I don't know if I ever thought he was Steph Curry, but he's definitely the fifth guy.
Okay,
that's what we drafted him for.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we drafted Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. It didn't work out, and he went somewhere else. I don't know what the Bruce Brown thing is interesting. Like, that's kind of interesting because here he is as a sixth or seventh man coming in and contributing big time to this team. The other two Pistons, Ish Smith and Reggie Jackson, they don't see the floor, but they're on the team. There's also something else going on with the Lakers. I don't know if we'll have time to get into it today, but did you see that they announced that anybody who, like Pat Beverly and Russell Westbrook, would both get rings if they were to win the championship? Did you see that? I mean, you want to talk about just preposterous. For what? They helped us helped you do what? You were the 13th seed. You were 13th at one point this season. There's only 15 teams in the conference. Like, what are you talking about? You're going to be handing out rings to guys that didn't contribute a lick in the playoffs? Not even on the roster? Get out of here. Get out of here. I want a ring too. Put me on the list. I want a championship ring. In fact, I wouldn't even accept it. What am I going to accept a championship ring from the Lakers for? I didn't do anything. Just like those two people didn't do anything. Good God. I've seen it all. Like, if you're Russell Westbrook, why in the hell would you want a ring from the Lakers? Do you have no dignity? Like, what are you going to do with that ring? Like, you have no pride in yourself? Pathetic. If we're not crying,
sell it to like one of the wannabe super fans for like $50,000.
Or when you go broke, you can sell it in auction. You can always do that too. Or you can do it. I think it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did. I think it was Kareem. He sold all of his rings and donated that money for young kids in schools. You can do that too. But you can't get a ring for not contributing to a team. Like, that's the dumbest thing I have ever heard. And for me, it's like you have no pride in yourself. It's probably why you dress like a traffic cone showing up to the arena in mesh shirts and stuff. Bunch of weirdos. Oh man, what a busy day. Tigers last night. John Wagner's going to join us. A lot of baseball here in hour number one. That'll give me a little breathing room before we hop in full speed ahead into the lottery. Bryce Simon will join us, Motor City Hoops and the Pistons Pulse podcast. We love when Bryce is on the show. Gotta figure out what to do at 5 now. Gotta figure that out. But one of the most disappointing nights in Detroit sports was last night. That is.
I can't believe that. It's just funny. Like,
it is. What's
I don't. Why are we disappointed? Like, we know it was 14%, right? Like, there was an 85.5% chance they weren't going to get it. Just put that into perspective.
Yeah, but send Charlotte to 5th. All right, that's a forgotten about franchise. The Spurs don't need any more luck. Rigged. They don't need it.
Yeah, vent, man. Let it out. This is a safe space for Detroit fans.
No, I think the NBA just still has it out on the Pistons because when they won their championships, it's like, oh, well, you're blocking the Lakers, you're blocking Jordan, you blocked Kobe and the Lakers again. We're going to keep punishing you.
Yeah, I don't see it like that. I don't think that it's
rigged. I do. It's David Stern's NBA rigged. He's doing this from the grave.
Well, if David Stern was around, he would be burning Ja Morant with the heat of 1,000 suns. I was listening to the radio yesterday, driving around, and I heard a really good comment in regards, just from a random caller, about Ja Morant. I'll probably share that with you at some point today as well. Let's step aside. Tigers won. We can talk about that next here. X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
For a lot of us, music and mental health are intertwined. That's why the Collaborative Lab created In Tune, a free live stream event, and you're invited. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day, so take action for your own mental health by joining us from 7 to 9 p.m. Musical performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Barrel Bones, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to learn how you can join the party for free.
Godsmack, live and in your face. Friday, May 26th at Soaring Eagle Casino, plus Bad Wolves. And same show, same night, Bullet for My Valentine. Tickets start at $28, on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. Party hard, rock harder. Godsmack, May 26th, part of the Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
Share your thoughts all morning long on the Meyer Guest Line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
There's certain songs that just do it for me, right? Anytime I listen to Godsmack, I feel like I need to join a motorcycle gang. I've said that before. They come on, it's just like, yeah, you know what, where's my bike at? What are we going to go do? This song does make me feel like I need to be participating in some mischievous activities. Doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Like, can't you just imagine? I'm not going to say
it's a bank robbery or something, perhaps.
Ooh, bank robbery, you say? Whose car are we taking?
Dan, do you know the whereabouts of Chiefs-aholic?
I do not.
Okay.
Did he get caught?
He's on the run.
Oh, man. Good for him.
Who?
There's a Kansas City Chiefs super fan. Goes by the name Chiefs-aholic. He's the fan that wears, like, the wolf costume to all the Chiefs games.
Mm-hmm.
He is wanted for armed robbery in multiple states because when you go to these Chiefs games, like the visiting games, he would rob a bank and go to the game.
You got to find this guy.
Yeah. Well, it's rumored that like he went to a Texas game and then just kept on going.
Wow. Modern day Bonnie and Clyde hits the National Football League. Can't wait to see the 30 for 30 on that. Yeah, not good for him though. You gotta catch him. Can't just run around holding people up at gunpoint. You just can't.
Well, the thing is too, he would wear the same mask that he would wear to the Chiefs games to go rob the banks. So it's pretty easy to be like, yeah, it was that guy.
Wait a minute. Do we see, what kind of patterns do we have here? Well, there's a random guy in the stands. Where do the Chiefs play this week? That's interesting. Golf season's here. Matt Golden and his team are ready to welcome you to one of the best golfing experiences in the great state of Michigan. Tullymore Golf Resort and Canadian Lakes, offering not one but two championship courses. Tullymore and St. Ives. It's located about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant. Tullymore not only features top-line golf, but also top-line accommodations and the perfect spaces for your wedding event, reception, or group outing. Visit TullymoreGolf.com, TullymoreGolf.com, or call 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. Tough to get excited about anything today, but the Tigers did win yesterday, so that was fun. They got a 4-0 winner over one of the better teams in the National League, or at least the best, better team in the NL Central. However, they are without my boy O'Neal Cruz, who had his season derailed after the injury early on.
That the Pirates, they started out really hot, but I think they're like 2-14 since they're like really good start. Like they've been struggling, so good for the Tigers to take advantage of a struggling team.
Get on them, right? Get on them early, and if they get 2 runs in the first, that always feels good. Anytime you can score in the first inning. What are we going to call this number? What is this? Team strikeouts. I feel like it should be the like the Dewey Decimal System. It's like the discipline mark right here. Only 7 team strikeouts is what I'm trying to get to for the Tigers, which is, that is fabulous. That's what we're looking for. 7 or less as a team, and that was pretty good. But Kintry was 1 for 3. Riley Green 3 for 4 with a run scored. Javi Baez was 1 for 4, had an RBI, scored a run, had a strikeout. He contributed to that. Torque was 2 for 4, huh? Come on, Torque. With a run scored and an RBI. Maton 0 for 2, really struggling with the wooden stick in his hand right now. Really struggling. Hitting 150, not a good situation. Akil Baddoo was 1 for 3. Drew a walk, had a strikeout, did score a run. Miggy was 1 for 3, drew a walk and struck out twice. Jake Rogers came in to pinch hit. Donuts, not much going on there. To pinch run, I should say, not pinch hit. Andy Ibanez 0 for 4. Short came in for him. Nothing going on there. And Eric Haas 1 for 4. He's hitting 272.
Yeah, he had – the guys are hitting the ball hard. I will say that.
Here we go with exit velo and hard hit shenanigans.
You know what?
Folks.
Hey, did you hear what Cam Maven said?
No, I was watching the lottery.
Okay, this wasn't last night. A few days ago, he put it into perspective. He said 95 starts tipping the scales. 95 is when
95.
you start. 95 miles per hour is when you start talking about hard hit ball.
Okay.
So torque is hitting one at 109, 112. That's scorching. Riley Green, he's 21 for 51 this month. He's 21. Riley Green has 21 hits in 13 games this month.
Who are you? Who has jumped into Dan and taken over?
I'm just spitting out statements. I'm not like a full on believer yet.
Right, but if you hit it 112 and you hit it directly to the third baseman, he catches it. I don't care if you hit it 200.
He hit 2 to the wall. He had 2 doubles in a row yesterday. Torkelson.
Which is, I mean, I'm all for it. Double up off the wall all day, every day.
Listen, the point of like exit velo is supposed to like, all right, if a guy's just getting outs, but he's still hitting the ball hard, it's just, you know what, you're not having any luck. But the thing with all the reporters, everything going, oh, well, he's hitting it so hard. Torkelson hadn't earned the benefit of the doubt yet. Like, there was no track record of his success. So to be claiming, like, well, he's hitting the ball hard, it's like, okay, but I need to see results from him before I start giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Are you benefiting some doubt now?
He's now actually doing something.
Wow. Folks, this is between Dan and his exit velo and Ryan believing in Spencer Torkelson. Folks, we might be turning over a new leaf on this program.
I want to believe in Spencer Torkelson. It's just I need to see results before I just blindly believe that he will be good.
So you're not much of a faith-based guy?
Somewhat.
Do you have faith?
Yeah.
Not to get like overly deep on you, but like you believe in stuff?
Yeah, I do, but yeah, we're not going to get into that. It's just more baseball terms. I'm not going to blindly believe in some prospect just because he hit the ball really hard to third base and got out.
I don't blame you. Look, I don't blame you whatsoever. You know, when you're passionate about something, when you care about something a lot, and that's your thing, I get the frustration. Like, no, I want to see it. Don't tell me what this person's going to be. We get how many games to go out there and prove it. You can't keep telling me this guy's going to be this and that guy's going to do that. And this, like, no, I need to be able to sit down and watch it with my own eyeballs and say, you know what? This guy, actually, this guy is worth me investing my faith into, or you guys are all smoking crack and it's only a matter of time until this all comes out in the wash and everybody sees the same thing I'm seeing, or at least are willing to admit it. And then I'm like, who are you looking to admit it from? Like, you looking on the internet? Like, who gives a damn? Like, what am I looking at?
Because that's what, when people are just like yelling about Javi Baez, it's just like, yeah, but Javi Baez has a track record of success and also a track record of doing all the bad things that he's doing. It's kind of what you signed up for when you got him.
Yeah, he wasn't going to just automatically have great plate discipline. Like,
yeah, he wasn't have great
signed on our team.
plate discipline and hit 330. That's just not who he is. And the fact that you just blindly believe that he was going to do it just shows how kind of dumb you are.
Well, I'm dumb then because I was all on board.
But look what he's been doing since he's been benched, though.
He's been
the good Javi Baez. But it's also different when you're Javi Baez batting 7th in a World Series lineup to now being the number 1 hitter in the lineup.
And being the guy that everybody's looking at and depending on plays a huge role in that as well. Michael Lorenzen, good game for him. 6 innings, 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, walked 2 through 99 pitches. His ERA is sitting at 3.44. So good for Lorenzen, starting to get some good performances out of some of the quote unquote other guys today. Major League Baseball's network 110 first pitch against the Pirates. We'll step aside. John Wagner will join us next here on X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street, you're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
For a lot of us, music and mental health are intertwined. That's why the Collaborative Lab created In Tune, a free live stream event, and you're invited. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day, so take action for your own mental health by joining us from 7 to 9 p.m. Musical performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Br0's, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to learn how you can join the party for free.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
Man, I'm tired of being on the I miss. Man, you know what I miss? Tamales. About tamales? Come on. Ándale.
She hadn't done me this way. Sleeping under a table in a roadside park. A man who wake up dead, but it sure seemed to warmer than it did. Sleeping in your water bed. Is anybody going to San Antonio or Phoenix, Arizona? Any place is alright as long as I forget I'm never known.
This is my mama's grocery store up here, and I used to work at
Game on. New Revlon Color Soak Digitone's hair color. Level up.
Rain dripping off the brim of my hat. Sure is cold today. Here I am walking down 66. Wish she hadn't done me that way. Sleeping under a table in a roadside park. A man could wake up dead. But it sure seems warmer than it did sleeping in our king-size bed. Is anybody going to San Antonio or Phoenix, Arizona? Any place is all right as long as I can forget I've ever known her. Wind whipping down the neck of my shirt like I ain't got nothing. All right as long as I
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Danny Galen, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all joining you. Join us now, my longtime friend who covered the Detroit Tigers minor league system for a couple of decades, a member of the National Football Foundation and Football Writers Association of America, John Wagner. Find him on Twitter at John Wagner Media. Johan, my good friend, how are you this morning? How's life? How are things?
Anthony, I am wide awake, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready for action. How are you this morning?
I am not there yet, but we are making our way slowly but surely. We're going to get up to full speed here, no problem. I want to start with this scandal, allegedly, maybe, that Dan put me on yesterday. He said, hey, did you see what happened with Aaron Judge? And I said, no, I didn't see what happened with Aaron Judge, but he heard or something?
I assume you have seen the video?
I saw that, a brief snippet of it. Dan brought it to my attention, so I scoured the internet like a sleuth, like Sherlock Holmes yesterday, looking around the internet going, what did Aaron Judge do? And he's getting ready. He's in the batter's box, and he looks over towards his eyes just leave the pitcher. I assume that he's looking towards the dugout, not 100% confirm where he's looking because I am not in. I have no idea where he's looking. That direction. He's looking across from him. And all of a sudden, the pitch comes in, and he hits it over the fence. And people are like, well, where did you look? And was that the reason? Did you know the pitch was coming? Oh, my goodness. What's happening here?
And here's the question I've got for you, Anthony. In your eyes, this is a controversy? Why?
Well, was Aaron Judge, was he trying to identify, were his teammates yelling to the umpire? Were they yelling to the crew, or was somebody tipping a pitch to him?
And this is a controversy. Why?
Well, I mean, is he cheating?
I mean,
I know.
Is he
you know
cheating?
What am I thinking? It's
No.
baseball. I know what. Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's baseball. Everyone cheats, and then when we do find out that somebody's cheating, everybody acts like, oh, my God, it's the end of the world. But then the commissioner doesn't do anything because we don't really care if people cheat or not. So, needle
Anthony,
up, use what you got to use.
Come on now.
Give me communications.
Cheating is breaking some kind of law. But put it this way, Anthony, you're at the plate, I'm on the mound, and I say, hey, Anthony, I'm about to throw the fastball right down the middle. And then I throw you a fastball right down the middle, and you hit it to kingdom come. Are you cheating because you know what the pitch is?
No. You told me what it was.
Duh. Yeah.
But
now,
that's different.
If I don't do a good – no, it's not. It is not. Anthony, if I don't do a good job, a good enough job of not telling you what's coming, and that's not cheating. It's shame on me. It's shame on Toronto for tipping a pitch to him. It's shame on them. That's not cheating. That is not cheating. Now, if you want to talk about cheating as in watching video and then banging on a drum and blah, 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 then we could talk about it. You've just done a terrible job of masking what the pitch is that's coming, and he figured it out. And by the way,
how do we know that he figured it out, though? We're assuming that they tip their pitch and that's that. But if he is getting some sort of communication from the dugout on what pitch is coming, that sounds very Houston Astros-ish, doesn't it? Oh, but wait, only the manager got in trouble for that. Well, a couple of coaches.
So,
and
yeah,
the GM.
now,
okay,
and
all
so,
right, that's interesting.
If the third Anthony, come on now. If the third base coach is relaying signs and you pick up what he's relaying, that's cheating. That's what you're telling me.
I mean,
that's absurd. That's absurd.
How? But
that's not cheating.
We don't
Give
know
credit for intercepting signals.
Oh wow! So the Houston Astros get credit for intercepting signals. Is that what we call that? Is that a signal interception?
Well, no,
how many of those
different.
do we get a season?
No, different. It's different, Anthony.
So how do you know that the Yankees aren't doing the same thing?
I don't.
Exactly.
But I also don't know that they are. Oh, Anthony.
But that's what makes it scandalous, does it not?
If they are, if all they're doing is Toronto's tipping a pitch, then it's not scandalous, right?
Correct.
See, that's the problem I have. Everybody is looking for these dark, devious motives. Now, if you find something dark and devious, let me know. There's all kinds of this stuff that's going on, and we're not catching it, or we just allow it. It's okay. If I give a signal and you intercept it, it's good for you, and bad job by me for making it a signal that you could intercept. Come on, people. Seriously. Here's the added bonus to this. Let's say that it was that. See, what I expected is people are telling me the judge is peeking. He's looking back and seeing where the catcher's set up, which, trust me, on the field, pitchers and catchers hate that, but there are batters who do it. They sneak a look back to see, can I see the catcher? If I do, well, it must be an outside pitch. I don't see the catcher, he must be setting up inside. That's why a lot of catchers wait until the last second until they set, because they know some batters peek to see where they're setting up to receive a pitch. And even if you've done that, it's one thing to know where it's coming. It's another thing to hit it to kingdom come, which is what he did. Now, admittedly, it's easier if you could basically rule out that it's an outside pitch and it's inside. It's easier. You're right. But it's not automatic. Major league hitters have a better chance of doing that when they know where the pitch is going to be, but it ain't 100%. And even if you know it's coming and know where it's going to be, you might, quote unquote, miss it and just hit a fly ball, or you top it and turn it into a ground ball. Knowing where it's going to be and doing something with it are two separate things. And the knowing where it's going to be, sometimes it's insidious. Other times it's shame on me for tipping a pitch.
Interesting. Interesting. This is what I call a scandal.
Yeah, see, I can tell you're not buying it. I mean, come on. I
don't know what to believe, because we're
scandal rocking baseball. I really do.
Well, I can't think of another scandal right now. It's really rocking baseball. I mean, it's been kind of a
shift adjustments and not allowing players to guard the whole field. That's an insidious. That's horrific. And the more I see it, the angrier I get at it.
Wait a minute. I thought we were
ludicrous.
I thought you're against the ban of the shift. To me,
correct.
It's generated more offense. Theo Theo was on Pardon the Interruption because he's working for Major League Baseball right now. Theo Epstein is. And,
well, of course, yeah.
And I think
Let me guess. He thinks it's great, right?
Well, I mean,
because Major League Baseball thinks it's great.
The way I interpreted it from him is I think that by hiring him and putting him in the position that he's in the league office, I thought that was a brilliant move. Listening to him speak, he's a fascinating character. And the data in which he provided a couple weeks ago on PTI about it, like it's providing exactly what they wanted to. By them being able to dictate where you can and cannot play positionally, they've opened the game up for more offense. I don't think that that's cheating. It's just giving the players on the field a little more direction on the structure and them making sure that they're all placed where they are traditionally supposed to be placed based on their decision. It's not like they're looking over their dugout to get some sort of signal that somebody beamed in from a satellite somewhere. But it's somebody in the stands with binoculars or some other sort of device hiding in the shrubs somewhere tipping pitches. It's not that, John. I don't have any complaint about the shift.
Instead we know that pick a left-handed pull hitter. We know Joey Gallo is going to hit the ball to the right side, to the right side. But we're not going to send all of our defenders there. I mean, heaven forbid that Joey Gallo hit above 120 on his own merits and make adjustments at the plate. Heaven forbid that we do that. Now let's make sure that we move players away from where he's going to hit the ball so he can get, a couple more hits each month. I mean, that's ludicrous. I can't. If you are not listening to yourself say that and think, man, I hope I don't say anything dumber than that because I sound pretty stupid right now. That's ludicrous. And yes, Theo is a bright guy. He's a bright guy. I assume he has the best interests of baseball in mind. This is not, repeat, not N-O-T in the best interests of baseball. You're ginning up offense. You're creating it artificially. It would be, the NFL saying, man, when a wide receiver leaves the line of scrimmage, don't you dare touch him. Don't you dare touch him. And make sure he gets the ball and takes like 5 or 6 steps before you even lay a glove on that poor soul.
Oh, wow. You really hate the shift.
Offense.
You hate it.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, wow.
I do. Yeah, I do.
And I thought when this
was not clear. Yeah, I do.
When this was coming out, I thought that we talked about it, and I was kind of like, one of my big debates against this rule of banning the shift was outside of the NBA, which you could still play zone. You could play a 1-2-2. You could play a 3-2. You could play a hybrid 2-3. You just got to make sure that your guy in the middle gets out of the key, or you're going to get a defensive 3 seconds. So you can play zone, but there is one guideline, and that's for its own purposes, and that's whatever, fine and dandy. You don't want to play zone in today's NBA against most teams anyways because they shoot the lights out. So it's not like Garden College kids. And then you wouldn't tell a football team that you can only run cover 2-man. Like you're not going to tell anybody that, or they have to run a full-blown zone. You wouldn't do that. So that was my argument against banning the shift, is how can you tell another team how they are supposed to defend, especially when the proof is in the pudding. And I always go back to the story Leon Bull Durham told me down there at Fifth Third Field in Toledo. If you can't hit it the other way, you don't belong in the major leagues. And I was like, you know what? I can get down with that. That's a fine argument on your side. And that was 10 years ago we had that conversation.
And I could not agree more. And my problem is I thought, let's see how these rules play out. And the more I see them, the less I like them. It's just we're creating artificial offense. I mean, why not? Let's move the fences into 250 feet so we can have more home runs, because people love seeing home runs. They love them. We love them. And it just, to me, that's absurd. I mean, just that's a way bigger issue than whether or not Toronto didn't effectively and fully keep Aaron Judge from knowing what pitch was coming before he hit his home run. If that's our biggest quote unquote controversy, we're living life right.
Wow. And here's the other, like, maybe collateral damage or unintended consequence of this is that as game times have decreased by 27 minutes, stolen bases have increased by 37%. Like, that is – so if that's stolen bases, that's actually bags that somebody has grabbed at that point. Attempts got to be just through the roof, right? If your bases have increased 37%. The batting average is up 4 points.
I would bet that the attempts haven't gone up because it's still – remember that a lot of these decisions are made by the statistics and the figures and the percentages. And unless you are – the last time I saw it, it was 80%. Unless you're 80% sure you could steal this base, you shouldn't do it. Once you're below 80%, you are costing your team more runs than you're creating by stealing that base. Now, those are maybe old numbers that have changed. If so, don't shoot the messenger. Just know that the number is high, okay? So the attempts have to be justified by the actual number of steals. You just can't go willy-nilly and send Miguel Cabrera because, man, stolen bases are we've got to steal more bases. Well, that ain't how it's done.
The only time he's ever stealing a base is when they're trying to turn the stadium lights off and get the hell out of there. That's the only time he's going to be able to steal a base, walk out with one in his duffel bag. But one of the really crazy changes that no one seems to be talking about, we dabbled in it a little bit yesterday, is the fact that the schedule has been changed. And every team plays the other 29 teams at least one series in the season. This is the first time in Major League Baseball history everybody gets to play everybody. And what we've seen so far is the American League East, who the Tigers are really good against, most of the teams in the league, except for the AL East. They are absolutely annihilating people. The division out of division record for each division, the AL East is 93-48 for a 660 winning percentage. The next closest is the NL West at 69-64. Almost a 30-game difference and a winning percentage of .519. Now, way down at the bottom, the AL Central, where the Tigers are at, they're 60-94. Like, they're just the whole division's terrible. But the AL East is out there just smacking the hell out of everybody, playing at 172 win pace over 162 games. That when they're not playing each other, that's where everybody's at. Like, that's incredible to me.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, American League Central, or American League East, rather, every team's above 500. All 5 teams. Ain't nobody who can say that. In fact, the National League East is kind of close. National League West, I mean, more teams are under than over, but they're close. They're within a few games of 500. But the East, American League East, has everybody above 500. How does Tampa already have 30 wins plus this year? And their lead is like 4.5 games. That's it. They should be just clubbing. They should have left the field. But they basically are only 5 games in front of Baltimore. Toronto's right there. The Yankees are 4 or 5 games above 500. And they're right there as well. I mean, even Boston's above 500. And maybe not by a lot. But yeah, that's killing it. And it's funny. The reason they have this schedule now where everybody literally plays everybody is because they wanted to make sure that with more wild card teams, you're not feasting on the teams within your division. We don't want to have a second American League Central team in the playoffs just because they're beating the 3 other really bad teams in their division, and the American League East, which has the best teams in the game. Top 10, their 5 are all in the top 10. They have to be. And you want as many of them in the playoffs as you can. You don't want them beating one another up and knocking everybody out of the playoffs. So, yeah, that's going to come into big play late in the year when we're trying to figure out wild cards.
Holy mackerel, John. I mean, this is, boy, that's really something. I didn't even realize. I didn't even look at the clock and see where we are at. He's John Wagner. He's got stuff to do today. We gotta let him run. Find him on Twitter, John Wagner Media. Johan, anti-shift, anti-scandal, maybe even anti-schedule. Find out more next week. Thanks, John.
Have a good week, everybody.
Hey, folks, the Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals heating up right now. The NBA playoffs, that means big action over the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the association. Get in on all the excitement every game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet, score $150 in bonus bets when your team wins, plus everyone can score a no-sweat same-game parlay. during the conference finals. Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, place the same game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you'll get bonus bet back up to $10. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. Now, if you or somebody who has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117. 21 plus Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in is required. One bonus bet is issued based on the amount of the initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, deposit restrictions to apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. I'll try to do better with that in hour 2, which is coming at you next here on the Michigan Sports Network.
At Mercantile Bank, we believe supporting the communities we serve is a vital part of who we are. Our team is here to make a positive impact, a real difference, and we're always looking for leaders to join our team because we're not just a bank, we're a partner, here to support what matters most. Come grow with us. Visit mercbank.com to learn more and let's support our community together. Mercantile Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Employer.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. Spin the money wheel and win up to $100,000 cash. Every Saturday in April from 5 to 11 p.m. One winner each hour will spin for the win and take home up to $100,000. Whirl in for $100,000 money wheel. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! James! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
Good morning, everyone.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
It's a good morning. Wake up to a brand new day.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, folks. Welcome back here. Hour number 2, X's and Bros, coming at you live all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio and worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. No matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening, we appreciate you making us a part of your day each and every weekday morning all across the world. Here on X's and Bros. We did a lot of baseball there in hour number 1. It's the only thing that's going to help soothe the pain of while we have the repercussions and the fallout from last night's NBA draft lottery, which we will be jumping into a whole bunch in this hour. But you can text the keyword sports radio, share your thoughts, sports radio, to 21,000. That's 21000. It's going to ask you to opt in once you do. It's just standard text rates, data, all that mess. You just text us. It's no big deal. Meyer Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176. We're on Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well on BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website or email us, fan feedback, email inbox, xbmornings@gmail.com. Danny Cahalan is at Dan in the studio. Ryan Elke is at RyanL_Key, and I'm Anthony Bellino at AC Bellino. What's going on in the world of sports? We'll try to get you all caught up with all the happenings. We'll do so right now in the headlines.
Big news.
I have a little news flash.
Let's check the headlines.
Nah, it's real news for once.
The biggest stories in the local, regional, and national news.
This is huge news.
Tigers winner chicken dinner yesterday, 4-0 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. That extends their winning streak now to 2 games. Coming off that Mariners dub. We'll see the Pirates again today, 1:10 first pitch on MLB Network. That's where you can find the game. Does that mean that does your crew have to work it then, Dan? Or no?
Yeah, it's probably just our feed going to MLB Network, I would imagine.
Okay. And then do they call it live from the venue, or do they go remote?
Oh, no, I mean, literally, like, they're just going to put our broadcast on MLB Network. Like, I don't think they...
All right.
Yeah, that's usually how they do it for day games.
Gotcha. The Tigers will have a day off tomorrow. Maybe they can finish up and go 2 for 2 against the Buccos today. And then they'll have tomorrow off, and they'll begin a 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Friday night at 7:05, Saturday at 4:05, and then Sunday at 1:35 before going to Kansas City early next week. So that's what the Tigers have going on. How about the Raiders wide receiver Devontae Adams said the All-Pro nod proved that I am me. This is interesting. Very interesting. A quarterback doesn't make me, I make me. And I can do it consistently at this level. That's why last season meant a lot. Even if I went and played like dog bleep next year, they can't say it because now I've already proved it throughout the course of a season. Played every game, put together a resume that says I do not need. You can erase all the numbers. You could just write in, he didn't need Aaron Rodgers. Wow. I thought that that's kind of bold. It's a 5-year, $141 million deal that made him the highest paid receiver in the league. Caught 100 passes for 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns in 17 games. I mean, guy was absolute money. But, man, seems like kind of a harsh comment there. I don't need Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers doesn't make me. Somebody looking for some validation there, huh?
Yeah, why not? So there's probably tons of wide receivers who are looking at like, oh, well, they're just because of that guy.
Jeez. But I thought they were, close. Maybe not.
Well, they can still be friends, but you can just be like, I'm still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, hell, an all-pro nod and those kind of numbers, we know, man. We get it. The Pat McAfee Show is going to go to ESPN in a new multi-year deal. So Pat McAfee will be coming on after First Take, and what's really interesting here is that they still, according to Pat himself, they still have full creative and control over the show. and they are not going to leave YouTube. That's the other thing.
That was I watched
leaving that.
He put out like a 6-minute video announcing that they were going to ESPN, so they'll be on ESPN, ESPN Plus, YouTube. But yeah, meeting with different markets. He goes, I want it to stay on YouTube because I want it to be free to people to watch the show, and that they're only going to watch a little bit of their language. So
yeah, he thanked The Last Dance for that. So it'll be interesting to see what it is. But it does shift kind of where sports media goes. I mean, Pat McAfee and the success of that program really, because it's a sports show and it's good. It's a good sports show, but it's pretty raw. And I think that there is something that is appreciated by that. And for a while there, ESPN was going in a direction where now they're like, hey, look, this might be the future here. Remember the Barstool Van show that they were going to do with Big Cat, and they partnered with Barstool, and they caught all that backlash?
Yeah, and they canceled it after one episode.
Yeah. I wonder if there is enough there for ESPN to just say, you know what, we're going to tune out all that noise. Don't even worry about it because it doesn't matter anyways. And we're just going to roll with what we have or what we're going to pay for.
And ESPN's already kind of bought in with Pat McAfee, putting him on College Game Day.
And he's the perfect fit.
Yeah.
He's the perfect fit. And you could throw him on the sideline at any NFL game. Like the dude, he just gets it. He understands. And he gets today's audience.
And he's proven he can clean up his act on, doing wrestling. He doesn't swear either.
Yeah, I mean, he's a professional, right? I mean, throughout the course of your daily life, how many times do you curse?
It's mostly
quite often.
It's mostly under my breath.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got little ones running around, so I get that, but you're used to censoring yourself not on a regular basis. But yeah, I mean, here it's a completely different ball game. When you're doing like live television, live radio, it's just something you get used to. When the light's on, then that filter turns on, and good for
It's rather bizarre.
You think?
Yes. Because I think all three of us would. I mean, Anthony, you work in food service. Lord knows you swear. So, yeah, it's crazy how easy it is, really.
Yeah, I mean that's why Gian always has all these thoughts and opinions, and he wants to call into the show. The guy can't. The guy can't go 1.5 sentences without dropping an F-bomb.
Your boy
somewhere.
John called in. He didn't swear. He was very well behaved.
Yeah, John was very articulate. Not my boy, just he's somebody that I know through other people.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's an associate. Is what he is. But yeah, he was very well behaved, and I thanked him for that in the group chat. I sent it to the group chat. I said, "Hey, I want to tell you I appreciate, you really, being FCC approved there." And he's like, "You know what?" He's like, "Hey man, I gotta ask you something." I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Well, do you practice your radio voice?" I was like, "I don't have a radio voice. I talk. This is the same way I send you a voice memo here.
Yes, we all do.
It's the same way I talk here. It's the same thing. Literally."
I tell students that don't have a radio voice. Just try to enunciate.
Speak clearly.
Right. Like that ends up being a radio voice because you're trying a little harder while you're talking.
Yes, we want to enunciate. We speak the King's English.
Enunciate.
The Jets are among several teams that are officially interested in hosting the Black Friday game and making it an annual production. How about this? League executive Mike North said to the New York Jets were one of multiple teams that, quote, raised their hand to host a game on an annual basis on Black Friday. So this had come up on the Adam Schefter podcast, and it looks like the Jets are going to host the Dolphins on Amazon Prime, on Black Friday. So the Cincinnati Bengals have lobbied to host this game as well, and similar to what the Lions and the Cowboys already have. The problem is here, I don't think that they'll do an annual Black Friday game that is dependent on one team. The Cowboys and Lions get their Thanksgiving Day game because it's traditional for 100 years. Like, that's why. And for a lot of years, people wanted to kick the Lions off of it. So I don't think that happens just because they got a little mojo with Aaron Rodgers. A judge has modified Jackson Mahomes' bond agreement. He can now speak to 3 of the 4 witnesses via telephone if he would like to. Before, that was going to be outlawed. The Spurs won the lottery and the right to draft Victor Wembanyama. Congratulations to them. Adam Silver was shocked at John Morant's video. We'll play that audio for you. And the Warriors allegedly never rebuilt trust after the Green Pool Punch incident, according to their head coach, Steve Kerr. And the Coyotes arena plan in Tempe has been rejected by voters. What do they do now for their future? I don't know. Have the owners build their own stadium. How about that? We'll step aside. Back with more X's and Bros after this here on the Michigan Sports Network.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
From planting a simple seed to managing a global food supply, growing, processing, and distributing food is the backbone of America. You deal with food safety and labor issues, cost control, and not to mention Mother Nature. But do you have time to explore research development and biotechnical tax credits? Properly administer payroll for temporary employees. Ensure that you're operating at your most profitable? That's where we come in. We're Bean Garter. And while your business is America's food supply, our business is helping you run your business better. We'll assist with tax credits, assess your processes and controls, and so much more. And while we may not be able to help you plant your crops, we can help you realize a rich financial harvest. From the family farm to worldwide distribution of all the things you grow, grow your business better. Experience service, expertise, and simplicity at Bean Garter. Find us online, beangarter.com. Bean Garter.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you ride along with us, no matter who you are, where you are, how you may be listening all across the great state of Michigan and in Northwest Ohio as well, and worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. It is hour 2. It is segment 2, which means, you know what time it is? You guys ready for this? You know what time it is? It's time for Detroit Lions Trivia. This is Will and Comstock Park's favorite part of the show. The Lions outscored their first 7 opponents in 1934, their first season in Detroit, by how many points?
Like total points or per game?
Total points.
112.
Dude, I was going to say right around that.
Were you?
97.
Correct answer, closest to without getting going over, Ryan Elkey. Correct answer, 118-0.
Oh, they pitched a shutout in the first 7 games?
7 games, didn't give up a point and clobbered everybody. Those were the days. Hey, then look. All these years later, almost 100 years later, getting ready to do the same thing under Dan Campbell and company. Boy, would that be something. Boy, would that be something. My goodness. I believe, wait, this is the 90th anniversary? That would make sense mathematically. Is that the patch that they're going to have on the uniforms? 90 seasons? With the old school lion in the stripes?
Are they doing a patch?
I think I'm pretty sure there's a uniform patch to commemorate 90 seasons. I'll double check on that after I get you this news. Didn't even know. This is coming out of the woodwork right now. Folks, there is a group of 7 schools in the Atlantic Coast Conference that are considering ending their grant of rights deals, which could pave the road to them departing the conference. So I read an article about this on ESPN, who has the rights to the ACC. Their article, vastly different from other news sources like the Daily Mail, which covers, that's a UK site, Sports Illustrated, CBS, all very, very different than what the worldwide leader in covering their own properties decided to put out on their website. Very interesting. So Ross Dellinger of Sports Illustrated reported that a group of 7 schools have formed something of an agreement that the current situation in ACC rights deal is untenable. Brett McMurphy, our friend, revealed those 7 schools to be Clemson, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina State, Virginia, and Virginia Tech.
Bring them to the Big Ten.
Now, grant of rights is an agreement made between the schools and the conference that sees the college hand over their media rights to a conference to negotiate media deals on their behalf. And since 1984, the Supreme Court ruling of the NCAA versus the Board of Regents of the University of Oklahoma, schools have had ownership over their own television rights. A grant of rights allows those institutions that are affiliated with each other by a conference to pool their rights to better sell media entities. You don't have a bunch of schools running around all willy-nilly and independent. Texas, for example, their Longhorn Sports Network. Nobody cares about that, at least not here. But you don't have the Florida State Sports Network and the all this other shenanigans, right? And it's very interesting because, look, the SEC has a 10-year deal with ESPN that they signed in 2020 that pays out over $811 million a year beginning in 2024. Then last year, the Big Ten agreed to a 7-year deal starting in 2023, that's this year, for $1 billion a year. So it's going to go Big Ten 1 in money, followed up by the SEC, which would be 2. And then the ACC has a 20-year deal that pays out about $240 million, the least amount of money earned by the Power 5 conferences. Wow. But are you going to try to squeeze ESPN, who has deals with the UFC, WWE, the NBA, the Pac-12? No SEC, they do have they don't. They do have the SEC network, and they do have some SEC games, but that's a split venture. They lost the Big Ten. I don't know. But if you want to try, if you're not going to rework your 20-year deal, which that was ridiculous anyways, that's way too long. But if you wanted to try to get out, you have to pay $120 million roughly in an exit fee. So would you pay the $120 million to get out to join another conference? Could those 7 schools band together and form their own conference? Could this be the end of the ACC? Well, the ball is rolling. And what I find is very interesting about this is that Florida State has a pretty, how do I say this? Florida State's got a long history. Michael Alford is their athletic director. He said the ADs and universities are very unified, so we're thrilled about being in this league and we want to stay in it. I don't believe that. I don't believe you. Because how do you say that and then suggest that Florida State's brand value for television far outpaces other ACC schools? And the league should be giving you a bigger piece of the pie because of what? Bobby Bowden? Now, they do have a national title, a recent memory, 2013? Is that it? Jameis Winston? Jimbo Fisher? But this is very, very interesting to see what might happen in the coming, because the conference realignment. We know that USC and UCLA are coming. We know that they're coming to the Big Ten. If you're the Atlantic Coast Conference, you have Clemson, Florida State, Syracuse, Louisville, NC State, Wake Forest, Boston College, UNC, Pitt, Duke, Georgia Tech, Miami, Virginia Tech, and Virginia. What are you getting out of Duke football? Is Duke basketball worth having for, just in collaboration with basketball? Is it worth having? I don't know. Georgia Tech brings you absolutely nothing. Pitt doesn't bring you much. Louisville doesn't bring you much. Boston College ain't doing anything for you. Syracuse doesn't do anything for you. This is a pretty, so the conversation is starting. The rumor mill is turning. We know how this works. We've heard ADs and conferences talk about, we love this, we love that, and then in the middle of the night send a fax that says, we are out, gone, see you guys, good luck. We're going to go join another conference. And this is what you get for the umpteenth million time on this very program. This is what you get when you don't have anybody of power or substantial influence running your league. You just get unorganized, Wild West chaos. Everything's a stagecoach robbery. That's how I view the NCAA. The TV networks, the schools themselves, and the conferences and the NCAA all working independently, trying to squeeze and maximize the dollar. I'm not mad at them for that, but they need a governing body that handles all of this. We need some structure here, folks. You can't just be running around like law and order. You need it to have a functioning society. You need it in sports. Somebody's got to be the commissioner of this thing and take control of what's going on. These different conferences shouldn't have different TV deals. That's ridiculous in its own right. You shouldn't be able to go. You should be able to leave Michigan and say, "Oh, I'm only getting 75,000 here, and I get 200,000 over there." How is that possible? Ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to say, "Oh, yeah, I had a really good year here. I'm going to jump up to the next level." I get it. I understand. But, what? Where are you going to pay an exit fee? What are you going to forfeit? You just get to leave and grab your bag and go? Take all the money with you? Come on. The world doesn't work like that. Neither should college sports. Golf season's here. I heard the weather's heating up. That's good. Matt Golden and his team are ready to welcome you to one of the best golfing experiences in the great state of Michigan. Tullymore Golf Resort, Canadian Lakes, offering not one but two championship courses, Tullymore and St. Ives, located about an hour north of Grand Rapids, 30 minutes west of Mount Pleasant, not only featuring top-of-the-line golf, but also top-of-the-line accommodations and the perfect space for your wedding event, reception, or group outing. Visit TullymoreGolf.com, TullymoreGolf.com, or call 1-800-972-4837, 1-800-972-4837. Book your stay and play at Tullymore today. How bad was last night? Pistons lose the lottery. We're talking about it next here, X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Imagine this, a day filled with indulgence, bursting with excitement, and packed with extraordinary moments that build memories to last a lifetime. A day that is unmistakably yours, at the place that is undeniably spectacular. Whether you're winning big, dining lavishly, or relaxing oh so comfortably, It's your getaway reimagined at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base! Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
Okay, I just want to warn you that when I wrote this song, I was listening to The Cure a lot, so.
Okay.
Here we go. You don't know how much I need you while you're near me. I don't feel blue, and when we kiss, I know you need me too. I can't believe I found a love that's so pure and true, but it all was bull. It was a Okay, I just want to warn you that when I wrote this song, I was listening to The Cure a lot, so.
Okay.
Here we go. You don't know how much I need you while you're near me. I don't feel blue, and when we kiss, I know you need me too. I can't believe I found a love that
The fifth pick will be made by the Detroit Pistons.
Wow, Detroit fell all the way out. And out. And that means there are
The fifth pick will be made by the Detroit Pistons.
wow, Detroit fell all the way out.
So pure and true.
And that means there are four
The fifth pick will be made by the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, it's a rough day, Pistons fans. It is a rough day for the Detroit Pistons, the organization. And this is a cumulative thing, is what this is. You know, last night the NBA draft lottery comes on before game one of the Western Conference Finals, and we're looking forward to it, and we are, we're all geared up and ready to go. And then you hear that come out with the fifth pick.
Will be made by the Detroit Pistons.
I can't tell you the level of disbelief that I had. And I know, I know that they had the best odds of picking fifth. And that's part of why this whole process is very frustrating, because to me, two parts here. The Detroit Pistons have had the worst winning percentage in the last 5 years than any team in the NBA. And I don't think it's rigged. I really don't. But if you have a terrible team, and this is supposed to prevent tanking, and so from that perspective, the league got exactly what they wanted. You know, you're going to shut your guy down because, he's going to have surgery. Okay, all right, you shut down Cade Cunningham. But then you're going to shut this guy down and that guy down, and he's got this and he's got that, and you're going to manipulate your roster. You'll see what this guy's got, and you're going to change things around. This is the point of that. The Detroit Pistons are, this is exactly what it's supposed to do. The league is trying to tell everybody with a lottery system that, look, you're not going to do this and get away with it. You can't intentionally lose games or intentionally change your roster, that's not going to put the best product out there on the floor. That's what you deserve. That's what you got. The fact that the system says that they have a 48% chance, 47.9, but a 48% chance of getting the fifth pick as the worst team, that's where I have an issue. Now, I get that it's there. There are some odds for the fifth pick because you can't pick any worse than top five. Well, that's a nice little protection for the worst team in the league. And if you're the second worst team in the league, you can't pick any worse than 6. And if you're San Antonio, who's the third worst team in the league, you can't pick any worse than 7. all three of those teams had a 14% chance of getting the number one pick, which means that all three of those teams had an 86% chance of picking somewhere other than number one. What I don't understand is why it is weighted so heavily to 5. Like, if you're not going to pick number one, you're the worst team in the league. Shouldn't you, like, not pick any worse than 3? Like, why do you have a 48% chance of picking 5th? But then again, the NBA had to do this lottery. You have to do this to try to prevent teams from tanking. That's what it comes down to. Do I believe that the system is broken? Yeah, a little bit. I do, because it affected my team. If I was the San Antonio Spurs, well, I don't find anything wrong with the system at all. This is great. But if you're a Detroit Pistons fan, a part of this is what happened last night, and a part of this is a culmination of the worst winning percentage in the NBA in the last 5 years being the Pistons, and the worst winning percentage in the NHL over the last 5 seasons is the Red Wings, and the worst winning percentage in Major League Baseball is the Tigers. And we had to sacrifice everything so that the Detroit Lions can be good, and if God bless it, that's what it took. If we had to give up the other 3 so that the Lions could have success, that's a price I'm willing to pay. I'll let y'all know that right now. You can't have it all. Life is about sacrifice. If you have a relationship, you're going to have to sacrifice something for the betterment of that relationship. You're not always going to get it your way or get what you want. Right? There's going to be some give and take. As a child, you learn to sacrifice, whether it is your time or your toys or whatever the case may be. You should be learning that you have to make sacrifices. Because in the real world, you're not going to get what you always want. Like, it just doesn't happen like that. And so you have the Detroit fan base as a whole this morning waking up going, what in the world happened? And that's the way I look at it. If the Lions make the playoffs, but the other 3 have to stink in order for them to do so, then God wills it. Let it be. I'm not even worried about it if the Lions make the playoffs. But this is I know what Troy Weaver said afterwards, and he was on there, and he's talking about it, and it's never. He said, "quote Obviously, number one was a different tier." Yeah, Wemby is a different tier. Now, I do need to say this because anytime you see a highlight of Victor Wembanyama, I'm not discrediting him at all. But every 3-pointer he takes, he can shoot it. But every 3 he takes in the videos that circulate the internet, they go in. He's shooting less than 30% from 3 this year on the season. He's 29.7%.
It's just like when you're watching a golf tournament and
every shot doesn't stick within 5 feet.
Well, but you'll say, it'll be some no-name dude, but he's got a 75-foot putt. Moments ago, I bet he's going to make this one.
They're only going to show you the highlights.
Yes.
That's not to say that Wemby isn't the best player in the draft. He far and away is. But Troy Weaver said, quote, obviously, number one is a different tier, but it's not number one or bust. I'm watching LeBron, who was a number one, but he's playing against Jokic, who was 41, who has been back-to-back MVPs. We never view it as one or bust. Oh, okay. That's a great comment. That's good. I get it. I said it last night in the Twitter space. Like, there is a level of spin and damage control that is going to have to happen here. It's happening right now as we speak. We'll talk to Bryce Simon about it a little bit later. Like, who's there at 5? Like, who can we get excited about now that we no longer are in the VW sweepstakes? We lost out on that. And although I know our chances of picking 5th were the best odds that we had, and I know that we had a 14% chance, same as Houston, same as San Antonio, to get that number one pick. It doesn't make me feel any better. As a fan, separating my fanhood from my profession, as a fan, this is like somebody walking up behind you and kicking you between the legs. That's what this is. As a fan, this is running across the middle and not seeing Ray Lewis. That's what this is. As a media personnel member, this is exactly what you deserve. This is why you don't rely on the lottery. You put the best product out there on the floor. You stop excusing people for not knowing how to win. I know it takes time, but at the end of the day, like, somebody's got to win. And the ball's in Troy Weaver's court. Because we spent the entire 22-23 season sitting around watching this team not put out their best possible product night after night after night, clinging on to little, like, positives that we see in a 17-win season. That is unacceptable.
I'm thinking, look at where the Cavaliers are and where the Pistons are.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I would project, I don't know about, the Cavs are going to be a top 5 seed in the East next year. That's just a fact. The Pistons, they'll be lucky to win 25 games. And the Cavaliers and the Pistons were in the same spot 3 years ago.
Well, the Cavaliers also, and I know but didn't the Cavaliers win the lottery like 3 times in 4 seasons or something crazy? The post LeBron.
Yeah, and I mean,
and things have changed.
Anthony
drastically
Bennett
since
played.
then.
Did he even touch the NBA floor? He played for the Maine Lobsters his whole career.
Hey, lobster and pasta, it's trending right now. I don't know if you guys have heard that song yet, but look, the Cavs are a better team than the Detroit Pistons. The Cavaliers start Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. That's not too bad with Danny Green, Karis LeVert, Ricky Rubio coming off the bench. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And it could get you a 5 seed, could get you a 4 seed. I assume that there's going to be, there's definitely going to be some drastic changes in Philadelphia now that Doc Rivers is out. Boston and Milwaukee will be up there, per usual. I would expect the Miami Heat at full strength. I think that they're a better organization, better program, better roster than the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they were lower in the standings because they were not healthy the entire season. They're not even healthy right now. One of their starters broke their hands. The Pistons, I don't know where they go from here. Like, maybe the Cavs are a bit of a stretch. Let's look at the Orlando Magic, for example. Do you think that that's a pretty that's an okay comparison?
My point about the Cavs was literally the Pistons and the Cavaliers were in the same exact position. One team chose to take Cade Cunningham, the other took Evan Mobley.
Mm-hmm.
They made a smart trade, and they're one of the better teams in the conference. We, the Pistons, just tank every year, praying for the number 1 pick. That we had the number 1 pick. We got him. He's played like 60 career games.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. And we won the lottery, and I said it last night. We won the lottery in the wrong year. I'm sorry, but Cade Cunningham and Victor Wembanyama aren't even in the same stratosphere. Like, they're not even close. I hope Cade turns into be Magic Johnson with a better shot, but I look at Orlando because there's a team that, okay, so they got Paolo Banchero, but, Wendell Carter Jr., Gary Harris, Markelle Fultz, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, the Wagners. I mean, look, Franz Wagner is a ball player, and he was the 8th selection overall. He's top 50 in scoring. He's an all-rookie member. He's a shooter. Like, that guy Franz can play. And as the 8th pick, that gives you some hope that maybe there's somebody there that can help this team. But nobody's going to be able to help their franchise like Victor Wembanyama. I don't believe that he is Kristaps, but a lot of this does depend on health. Let's get to Dave in Hudsonville. Good morning to you, Dave. How are you, my friend?
Morning, AB. Hey, in the bigger picture of things, I don't disagree about Victor, but the Spurs are not going to sniff a conference final for 4 years. It's just going to be that long. And the other thing with the Cleveland Cavaliers, their best player is Donovan Mitchell. They got him through a trade. Right now, we got 3 guys on the all-rookie team the last 2 years between Cunningham, Duran, and Ivy. And if we go out and get ourselves a top-flight free agent, that's going to be better at this point than a Victor Wembanyama because he needs a few years to develop. And the Spurs aren't even close to developing. So there's a different way to look at it, too, because you almost it would have been great to get him, without question. But at the end of the day, he's not even an evolved NBA player yet. And to go out and get a top-flight NBA player to go with some guys, if Cunningham can stay healthy, I think improves us faster than Victor Wembanyama.
So I think that Wemby is already better than anybody on the Pistons roster.
I don't think
he's NBA ready. Dave, he's NBA ready. Like, he's gonna come. Like, I'm telling you, like when they did that scrimmage against the G League Ignite when they played that game, and he went out there and wiped the floor with those clowns. Like, he's gonna, as long as he stays healthy, he is Giannis. Like, he'll put the weight on. It'll come.
No, hey, AB, he's not Giannis. You can't talk about a guy who's been in the league and doing it when Victor hasn't. He weighs 200 pounds. At the end of the day, his body's not even evolved. He's starting to go against some men now, and I'm not saying he can't score a little bit, but at the end of the day, once you start getting those guys leaning on you and starting to pound on you, it's going to be a while for him. He's not going to walk out and dominate the league.
No, he's just going to walk out to the three-point line, drag those guys out, and beat them off the dribble. He won't even have to pound on them.
No, you're a little evolved in your piece with that. I don't think it's that easy for him. We'll see, but I just don't think it's going to be that easy for him to do that because he's got nothing on his body going to the basket. And if you watch LeBron, and if you watch Giannis, and if you watch Embiid, you talk about the physical contact. He is not going to move, and he's not going to move physical guys in front of him with his body. Look at how physical the contact is on the drives now. You can play European basketball and dance around like playing European soccer. It's going to be different in the NBA for him.
Oh, I don't disagree with you there. I don't disagree with you. But if he drags, let's say for example, Embiid were to get switched on him, he's gonna lure him out, and because you have to guard him because he can shoot it. So you have to. It's not like he's Draymond. You could just hang out in the paint and dare him to shoot it. Like he can shoot it. So he drags Joel out there. He beats him off the dribble, and then you have 7'4" coming out. You can touch him all he want. The guy can touch the rim from the free throw line. The guy, he's an alien.
I'm going to let a 7'5" guy who shoots 30% or less shoot it all he wants.
Well,
he can stand up there all day and thinks that he's a 6'2" guard, man.
There you go. That's Dave in Hudsonville. I feel like we might be on the verge of disagreement on that one. Let's get to Freddie, who is on hold right now on the Meyer Supercenter guest line. You can join us 248-951-2176. What's going on, Freddie? How are you?
Was that Grant Long that called? Grant Long didn't like Wembanyama as well.
Well, Grant was like, I got to see it first, and I don't blame him. Sean Bradley, Kristaps, like those are both very good examples.
Dave from Hudsonville, his logic was flawed. No disrespect, but listen, I'm not going to argue the point if he's going to be good or not. I mean, no one ever knows, but to say a top free agent's going to come here to Detroit, what are they going to come here for?
Well, there's no top free agent. That's the other thing. Like the free agent pool this year is not good. Like our best bet might be Jeremy Grant Part 2, like a rerun with Jeremy now that he knows, hey, you don't have to be the number one option. This is what we're doing. Are you down with it or not? Like, do you want to come back here?
Dave knows better. Top free agent's not going to come here, even if there was one. Not coming here. What are you coming to Detroit for? When you go to other places like Miami, whatever, they don't pay tax. You got the girls on the beach. These guys are not coming here. You got to do it through trade. And everybody's laughing at me when I keep saying Jordan Poole, and the first reaction, like, he makes too much money. Listen, there's no too much money in the NBA. Okay, Jordan Poole can shoot the ball, and it's obvious that him and Draymond Green hate each other. And the coach admitted it yesterday that since that fight they had, it's never been the same between the two guys. Mm-hmm. So one of them's got to get out of there. And you get a Jordan Poole that can shoot the ball. And if you have to trade a Cade or an Ivy to make room for him, you got a veteran in there. Then you bring another veteran back. Then you're talking about maybe doing something. But they're stuck, man. They really are stuck, and they're going to have to find the coach is going to be interesting who they pick now. But no top free agents coming here. And Wembanyama, they would have sold out every game if they would have won that draft. I mean, that's terrible. Listen, if we would have got 2 or 3, I wouldn't have been as pissed. But 5? I mean, are you kidding me? 5. That was ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. To have the worst record and they go all the way to 5, I'm not going to be that guy saying the lottery's screwed and because we lost. I'm not going to be a sore loser. But seriously, 5?
5.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, I know you're up against it. Have a good week, buddy. Bye.
See you, Freddie. We'll be back. Hour 3 next. X's and Bros.
In the den.
Hey, sports fans, here's a hanging curveball that you can knock out of the ballpark. This is Matt Shepard, the voice of Detroit baseball, inviting you to step up to the plate at Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile sports book where you can bet on all your favorites all year round, including, of course, our national pastime. So download the app and start winning today. Eagle Casino and Sports, made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Must be 21 years or older and in Michigan to play. On this date in 1968, that magical year that saw the Tigers win their 3rd World Championship, Detroit beat the Washington Senators 7-3. There were 2 primary heroes that day. One was Joe Sparma, who threw a complete Game 3 hitter, one of 7 CGs he had that year. The other was Jim Northrup. He hit one of his 5 grand slams on the year that day in Detroit. The 5 were a single-season record until Don Mattingly hit 6 in 1987, and Travis Hafner tied that record in 2006. Northrup would hit 21 homers in 1968, drive in 90 for the World Champs that season, and finished 13th in the MVP voting.
At Mercantile Bank, we believe in empowering the communities we serve, and that financially strong individuals and families are vital for building strong communities. That's why we're committed to providing budgeting tools and interactive resources designed to help you take charge of your finances. Our friendly staff is always here to help answer questions and provide solutions to help you reach your goals. Call, stop in, or visit us online at mercbank.com to learn more. And let's help you make today count. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For a lot of us, music and mental health are intertwined. That's why the Collaborative Lab created In Tune, a free live stream event, and you're invited. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day, so take action for your own mental health by joining us from 7 to 9 p.m. Musical performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Barrel Bones, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to learn how you can join the party for free.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
It's time for Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show, broadcasting live all across the state of Michigan and Northwest Ohio. This is X's and Bros.
Swings it out to Sadiq Bey. Defended in the corner. To Abdul-Rahman at midcourt. Extra pass. And it goes for the win. The three-pointer by Jordan Poole. Here's the give. Walker. Kenneth Walker. Touchdown. Smarty. Goff's got it. Back. Looks. Throws. Ends up. Yes. Caught. Touchdown. Detroit Lions. They did it. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the receiving end.
Sends one to deep left center field. Back it goes, and that ball's out of here. A grand slam from Miguel Cabrera. He's got 2 goals. Larkin in on goal. Scores! His first career hat trick in his 7th season for Dylan Larkin.
Here's your host, Anthony Bellino.
Rise and shine, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. 17th day of May, 2023. Welcome back here to the program. X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network. Broadcasting live all across the great state of Michigan, in Northwest Ohio, worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. Pleasure to be with you. Danny Galen, Ryan Elke, I'm Anthony Bellino. Text the keyword Sports Radio. Send that to 21,000 Sports Radio to 21000. Meyer Supercenter guest line 248-951-2176, 248-951-2176. Run Twitter at XB Mornings, Facebook, X's and Bros. And, of course, good morning to our television audience as well. BCSN and streaming live on our YouTube page at Michigan Sports Network. Add a .com to that to find our website. Find Dan on Twitter, Dan in the studio. Find Ryan at RyanL_Key. And find me, Anthony, at AC Bellino. Fan feedback, email inbox, xbmornings@gmail.com. A couple texts here. Good morning, boys. Ben Wallace blew the Pistons' chances by wearing that ugly green outfit. Bad boys for life. That comes from Vito. Okay, Wemby won't be. So how are the Pistons?
What's up, Vito?
How are the Pistons setting financially as far as going after some free agents? Brian on YouTube. Pool, LOL, no way. I don't have a problem with Jordan Poole.
For what Freddie proposed, though, for like Cade or for Jaden Ivey, it's like
I have a problem with that.
Yeah, it's like I'd rather have Jaden Ivey with this contract than Poole because it's like I think they have similar styles of play, so I'd rather have the cheaper version.
And I think Ivey's much more of a driver.
Yeah,
you know, Poole he's creative.
Well, he's a better finisher.
Doesn't have that jump that Ivey's got, that bounce.
But it's like looking at the numbers, like Ivey can become Jordan Poole and
with more athleticism.
Yeah,
almost a higher ceiling.
Yeah,
Jordan Poole's going to find himself just as a as a shooter, a little bit of a creator. I don't know what they end up doing with Jordan Poole. I'm not really sure. You know, do they try to ship him to New York and try to get a guy like Julius Randle? They need some interior scoring. They got to figure it out. So there's there's some options there. Does Portland with the 3rd pick? Do they try to hit the restart button? Do they ship Damian Lillard to New York and let him play the 2 alongside Brunson? It'd be a little bit easier for him, not having to have the ball as much, not having to be counted on as much. Can they send an RJ Barrett to Portland and maybe some? I don't know. There's a lot of teams that are stuck in this space right now. And I did get a message here on Twitter that I want to share with you. This one comes from Tyler. Tyler said, "Tell Dave the NBA is a soft league. It's not the late 80s and early 90s. The NBA build is length over mass now." And to an extent, I do agree with that. But it is still physical. Like there's just not as many flagrant fouls anymore because you're not allowed to grab a guy when they're midair and throw them onto the ground.
We've also realized in the last 30 years that you can be strong. You don't have to have mass.
Well, that's true. Jalen Duren, I mean, people are figuring out that he's as strong as a bull. But there's still a ton of contact. Like when you go, you don't see it on TV. And I'm not going to lie. Part of it is the players are soft, right? It's the flopping. It's the grab my face and roll around on the ground like somebody just hit me over the head with a hockey stick. You know what I mean? Like a lot of that stuff, it's for the show to try to draw the foul, to deceive the officials. I get it. Charles Barkley said something the other day. I forget who it was. Maybe it was Edmonton. A guy had 75 stitches, and he said, if a dude got 75 stitches in the NBA, they're not coming back in the game. They're going to retire. And part of that is true. But that's us as a society. Because you can't tell me that in the late 80s, LeBron James isn't beating the brains out of everybody. Guy's built like a machine. Like, you can't tell me that Jalen Duren isn't dominating in the 80s. Like, he's physically, like, he's built like a machine. A lot of these guys. Like, we're bigger, we're faster, we're stronger, but we don't have the same mentality, and that's the difference. But you go back and watch a lot of tapes. I know people like go watch those compilation videos of, every 80s, every time somebody drives the rim, they get grabbed and thrown and choke slammed into the ground. One, that's not basketball. Two, it's not legal. And three, go watch whole games and tell me that it's even anywhere near. Like, it's not. I'm sorry. It's not. It doesn't matter what area you lived in. The game is different. I can appreciate it. I understand it. I think the peak of the game was probably, 1990 to 2005 was probably the best 15-year run that the league has ever seen. Because you still had the physical nature that people wanted. The athletes were better. You were getting a good mix of everything. You had the development of the three-point line, but you still had interior post play. Like, the game, I think that. But then again, my most impressionable years as a young person, I would think that. If your most impressionable years were 1970 to 1985 or 75 to 90, you'd probably think that those are the best 15 years. So we can agree to disagree there. Just like I agreed to disagree with Dave. I thought I was actually very well behaved, by the way, with Dave on the horn. I thought that was pretty good of me. Because I do have some questions for Dave that aren't sports related, but I wanted to ask him some things. And I was like, you know what? Sports show, focus on sports. Sports. Get all sporty. Sporty spice. It's exactly what I was thinking. I think a top 5 pick is still good for our team, but top 3 would have been sweeter. Still should get a good player, and I feel like we have 3 potential all-stars already. Heads up, let's get it. That comes from James. Is all hyped up. James, that's the kind of positive juice that we need. That's exactly what we need. We need that sort of positivity in our lives, because if not, it's going to be a long, dark road. But we're allowed to be upset today. And we're going to talk more about this with Bryce Simon. He's going to join us at 8:35 this morning. Always a pleasure to catch up with Bryce. So we'll now we got to start to look at who might be available at 5. How do those picks? Scoot's going to be gone. I didn't want Brandon Miller anyways, so that's fine by me. Like, I know that I might be in the minority here. But I think that character does matter. I think it does. I'm not all the way out on Jamison Williams. But I got my right foot in and my right foot out. Don't make me put my right foot out, because I'll do the hokey pokey, right? Don't make me get out of the car. And I'm like, what Jamison Williams did is a huge strike. Now I'm not gonna give up on the young man just yet, but just so everybody's aware, I believe character matters. I don't want Imani Bates on this team. I don't want Ja Morant on this team. I don't want Joe Mixon. I don't want those kind of people in my organizations. I just don't. I'm sorry. I know a lot of fans like, I don't care what he does. You can have all the guns you want, punch all the people you want, get in bar fights, throw money at strip clubs, go out party all night, show up the next day hungover. That's what basketball was, baby. That's what the NFL, no. I don't want an organization being ran like the old show Playmakers on ESPN. I don't want that. I want to live in a world where character matters. I want to live in a world where discipline and responsibility matters. I don't want everybody out here just doing everything all willy-nilly and not suffering a consequence for acting like that. That's why when Adam Silver gets on there last night and starts talking about Ja Morant, I'll play the audio for you so you can hear it for yourself. But you were shocked? You were shocked what you thought that a 3-hour stint in some quote-unquote rehab because his PR agency said just cry mental health and everybody will back off. Because that's what we got to do. He's got to deal with stress. Huh. No, call it what it is. He's immature, he's stupid, and that's it. He wants to be something that he's not. And I heard something great on the radio down here on a regular music station. I can't wait to share it with you next here, X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go! Go! No, first base!
Go, run!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Imagine this, a day filled with indulgence, bursting with excitement, and packed with extraordinary moments that build memories to last a lifetime. A day that is unmistakably yours, at the place that is undeniably spectacular. Whether you're winning big, dining lavishly, or relaxing oh so comfortably, it's your getaway reimagined at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Huge here for all the Mr. Car Wash locations across Michigan. You're going to want to look into that unlimited monthly pass that I use. Superfly Hayes, my producer, uses it. I can get my SUV washed as often as I like for one low price. You can sign up today. Just go to MrCarWash.com or stop by your local Mr. Car Wash location here in Michigan for the one close to you. And to get that unlimited pass, go to MrCarWash.com.
line. Call 248-951-2176. That's 248-951-2176. Now, back to Danny, Ryan, and AB.
Rolling into the NBA playoffs with some big hoops action. Over at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports city partner of the association. Get in on all the excitement every game. The conference finals with the touch of a button. New customers make a $5 pregame moneyline bet, score $150 in bonus bets when your team wins, plus everyone can score that no-sweat same-game parlay every day during the conference finals. How great is that? Open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, place the same-game parlay on any NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $10. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Sign up using the promo code HUGE, promo code HUGE only at DraftKings. Now, if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, needs help, call the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Gambling Disorder Helpline, 800-270-7117, 21 plus, Michigan only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Opt-in is required. One bonus bet issued based on the amount of the initial losing NBA bet. Eligibility, wagering, deposit restrictions to apply. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Good song choice, Dan. Always kind of brightens my mood.
No problem.
I appreciate that. Welcome back to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. All right, so I heard this on the, I was driving around and I had a little bit of a longer commute going from point A to point B. So and as I was driving back to where I'm staying at, I'm listening to just a regular hip hop station. I'm scrolling through the channels and, whatever. And a caller called in and said something, and I repeated this to the group chat. And the group chat responded with Kenyon Martin had said something along the same line. So maybe this caller got it by himself, or maybe he pulled this from Kenyon Martin, but I'm going to share it with you anyways. And he said the problem with the whole circle and where your parents at, and the guy was like, you have both parents in the house. This isn't you. Like, what are you doing in regards to Ja Morant? Because that's a big sticking point. Like, that's one thing that I've learned is the fact that Clarence's parents have a real good marriage. Like, it's almost... It is used in such a way that it's almost like shamed, which I find absolutely is ridiculous. That's preposterous. Like, yes, we know that statistically you have a higher chance of being a contributing member to society if both of your parents are in the house. Like, if you come out of a single parent home, like, that's fine. But yeah, the odds are immediately stacked against you because life is hard.
Just a reminder of what's happening with the Oxford parents. Just because you have both parents at home doesn't mean they're parents. They're being parents or they're good people.
There's plenty of bad parents out there too. There's plenty of people that shouldn't have kids. But it is what it is. I'm just saying from a number standpoint, like, yes, there are criminals that come from multi-parent homes. I was just shocked at the way that it was being presented on the radio, and then the way it was presented in the chat, like there was some sort of like knock against him. I'm like, what? Like, you can't fix stupid. Anyways, the guy goes on to say on the radio, he says Ja Morant can't look to his father for guidance. And I was like, what? Like, that's strange. He's like, because his father's too busy being a fan. I said, whoa. And I was like, wait, yeah, you see him on the sidelines? Like, yeah, it makes sense. It does make sense. But you would think at some point Dad's going to be like, hey, you're messing up all of this money for all of us here. Here's what Adam Silver had to say last night during the draft lottery when asked about it by Malik Andrews. Now, I don't think that this even needed to be talked about, to be honest with you. It's about the draft lottery. It's about the teams. It's about the incoming players, the upcoming prospects, right? We could have asked a lot of things about how the combine went. We could have talked about a whole bunch of different things. But for whatever reason, they wanted to talk about Ja Morant. I'm not mad that they did. It just, to me, didn't make a lot of sense.
What did you say to him about how much more severe it would be if he did this again?
Well, we talked directly about the consequences first before we got to a subsequent potential to have done something wrong. We were very focused on the misconduct that was in front of us at the time. And frankly, most of our conversation was about how incredibly serious the first incident was of waving, a firearm on social media. And again, and the consequences there, an 8-game suspension was pretty serious and something that he, at least to me, seemed to take incredibly seriously in that time. And we spoke for a long time about not just the consequences that could have on his career, but the safety issues around it. Could have injured, maimed, killed himself, someone else with an act like that. And also the acknowledgement that, as you said, he's a star. I mean, he has an incredibly huge following.
Yeah.
And that my concern, and I thought he shared with me, that millions, if not tens of millions of kids globally would see him as having done something that was celebrating in a way. You know, that act of using a firearm in that fashion. And so I at least was left with the sense that he was taking this incredibly seriously. So honestly, I was shocked when I saw this weekend that video. Now, we're in the process of investigating it, and we'll figure out exactly what happened to the best we can then. It's the video's a bit grainy and all that, but I'm assuming the worst, you know, but we'll figure out, you know, exactly what happened there.
The video's a bit grainy. We'll figure out what happened. I'll tell you what happened. A guy's in the car. His buddy's on Instagram Live. He pulls out a pistol. That's what happened. Like, what do you mean? You got video evidence of it. Like, there's nothing. It's as good as body cam footage. Like, what are you talking about? Adam Silver. So now you got to throw the hammer. So my buddy Bakari in New York calls me last night because he's a big Knicks fan, and I want him to know the Pistons are a better organization, but whatever. And every time we get into this debate, it's because we've been in the trash can for the last decade, and what are you going to do? Like, that's why our winning percentage is lower than the Knicks right now. But we're a better organization than the New York Knicks. And so he calls me, and we're talking about the lottery or whatever. And we're talking about this, this case. And he said, what do you think? And I said, well, I thought on the radio, I thought like minimum, I said this on the radio, that we'd probably see a minimum of 20 games. But I don't really actually think. I think that that's more of the conservative number is 20 games. I think the bare minimum should be half a season. And I think what the punishment will end up being, I honestly, you could be looking at the full season here.
Did you see Ja's statement that was released?
Going to continue to work on himself. Okay. Yeah. What are you going to do? Go to another fake rehab for 3 days? Talk about how you're so stressed that you're partying with your friends in a car and you're toting around a pistol?
Yeah. What rehab do you go? What rehab center do you go to? Like, my name's this. Welcome to Alcohol's Anonymous. Like, oh, my name's Ja. I like flashing guns on social media lives.
Guys,
do you shoot them? Nope, not at all.
They're props that they are for my. They're
I saw one clip where it's like it was from the movie The Other Guys, where they take away Will Ferrell's gun and give him a wooden gun. It's like this is how they need to treat Ja Morant. It's like you can get your real gun when you learn how to treat him with respect.
Desk pop.
Let's get to CK, who's in Maumee. CK, we got about 60 seconds, my friend. What's going on, partner?
Yeah, I agree with you. Character counts. It ruins a locker room if you have somebody that's in there. Gilbert Arenas comes to mind.
Oh yeah,
it can destroy a team. I was talking about the Pistons. Right now, I think the NBA has become a perimeter league. The Pistons, to me, I think they look for a guy that's like 6'6", that's a dead-on shooter, that maybe the kid that's got a brother that's coming out of the G League, if he's still available, somebody like that they've got a driver, they got a slasher, they got a facilitator, they got a rim protector. Bogdanovich is a good shooter. I think if they add another 6'6" wing shooter, can defend the wing really well, I think they're set up pretty well.
Hi, 100%. I agree. I mean, Bogey's your shooter right now. They have to add more shooting. They're one of the worst shooting teams in the league. And if there's somebody in this draft that can elevate it, I love the presentation of that. CK, you are spot on. That's exactly what this team needs moving forward now that we know Wemby's out of the picture. Let's talk to Bryce Simon about it next here, X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network.
Imagine this, winning big at Soaring Eagle. Spin the money wheel and win up to $100,000 cash. Every Saturday in April from 5 to 11 p.m., one winner each hour will spin for the win and take home up to $100,000. Whirl in for $100,000 money wheel. Only at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Your getaway reimagined. Visit SoaringEagleCasino.com for complete rules and details.
Huge here for my good friend Tom Rosenbach and his team at Bean Carter. They're one of America's top accounting and business firms. They're based in downtown Grand Rapids, and now they're stronger than ever before with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew. Now, Dorn Mayhew is an east side firm. Now you get the west side of Michigan with Bean Carter, and whether you're a small business or big business, they can handle all of your accounting and business needs at Bean Carter. Just go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I mentioned with their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew, they cover all of Michigan, the Midwest, and coast to coast. Find out how the pros at Bean Carter can help your business today. Go to beancarter.com. That is BEENEGARTER.com. And I know Tom Rosenbach and his team are so happy about their new partnership with Dorn Mayhew.
If you or your family is touched by autism, learn more about Freddy's Foundation at #PopTheTap at FreddyThePizzaman.com. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Or email FreddyThePizzaman@gmail.com.
sure is cold today. Here I am walking down 66. Wish he hadn't done me that way.
Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Danny Cahalan, Ryan Elke, Anthony Bellino, all crying to you. We appreciate you for listening to us, and it's time now to welcome in somebody who's going to talk me off of the ledge. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to talk me off the ledge yet. His name is Bryce Simon. He's a regular on this program. Find him on Twitter at Motor City Hoops. Find him and his partner, Amari Sankofa, with the Pistons Pulse podcast. Bryce, it's great to have you with us. Shout out to Amari Sankofa. It's a tough day for all of our friends, James Edwards, Mike Curtis, Rod Beard, you, me, Jack Kelly, anybody who covers the Detroit Pistons. Today is a day of mourning, I guess. The Pistons lose on the Wemby sweepstakes. Have you processed this yet?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm an internal optimist, I think, in the Pistons community, right? Like, I think if you went around, people would say I'm kind of the more, I don't want to say level-headed, but I don't have quite the same emotional investment because I've only been a fan for a few years. Like, people were texting and tweeting yesterday about, like, throwing up because they're so nervous about it. I'm like, I'm just chilling, going about my day. I mean, I am a big fan, but I haven't lived it my whole life. Losing out on Wemby was huge. Like, that I would say more like that would have been such a game changer, Anthony, because he is truly generational, and that word gets thrown around a lot. Wemby was that. Some of these other guys aren't that, but Wemby is. I just don't think I had prepared myself that they might actually fall all the way to 5. I was prepared for them not to get 1. I was prepared for the Scoot Henderson versus Brandon Miller debate for the next month. And we don't even get to have fun doing that because those guys will be off the board at 5 as well.
Sad. I was all in on the Pistons are going to get the number 1 pick. And a lot of people don't understand the odds. So you have a 14% chance, the worst team in the league, with the bottom 3 teams. They all have the same odds as far as getting the number 1 pick. But your odds are higher to get the number 5 pick because you don't have any chance at getting anything worse than 5. So hypothetically, it does make sense. I want to first ask you about the system that is the NBA lottery. Like, I think the show is complete garbage. My idea for this program is to put the lottery machine out in front of the public and draw 14 all the way down to 1. Do it lottery style. Like, let's see the ball get sucked up into the tube like we're watching the nightly news at 6 o'clock or whatever, playing the big 3 or whatever they call it, wherever the hell you live at, and just go that route. Like, let's do this on live television. I want to see somebody stand up there with some cards, somebody delivering some cards from Ernst & Young. I don't care about them. You think we trust anybody in the finance industry right now? You're out of your mind. It's 2023, for God's sakes. Put it on TV and let me see the ping pong balls, damn it. That's what I want, Bryce. But they don't do that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm excited to talk to Amari here in just a little bit because he was there last night and they made him like take he had to put his phone away, his computer away, all that. He was in the room. I don't know what all he got to see, what all he got to experience, but I know it was something that like not everybody gets to. And again, he wasn't allowed to bring any technology with him. So we're going to have an episode coming out today at noon, and I'm excited to hear because I haven't talked to him yet to find out what all like went into that. But I didn't even watch it, to be honest with you. I was on a live stream on the DBB YouTube, and I just let somebody that was watching it kind of rattle off the results. But yeah, there has to be a more dramatic way. Like, as much as this is an entertainment industry, that's how you're going to do it. How can we not have more drama with it than just, like you say, just opening up a card? That's dorky to me. In some ways, I feel like I've cheated the game because I didn't experience all of this growing up. So I don't have some of the same like scars from fandom. And so it's hard to completely understand all of that. I am a Pistons fan. I cover the team. I talk about them more than I talk about anything, but I'm not a lifer. So it is a little bit different for me. I will say this, Anthony. And again, this is where like the internal optimist comes out. Cade Cunningham is really, really good, Anthony. Cade Cunningham can be the face of your franchise. Jaden Ivey had a really good rookie season. He's not a face of the franchise, but he could be a number 2. Jalen Duren is really good with a really high ceiling, and we can get into it if you want. I'm sure we will a little bit. There are some potential really good players at number 5. So, no, it is a disappointment that they didn't get number 1. It's a disappointment they didn't get number 2 or number 3. the room for error shrunk a lot by not landing Wemby or Scoot or probably even Brandon Miller. But there is still a path and a course for this team turning it around and being good. The room for error just got a whole lot smaller.
And, you know, I don't hate the makeup of the Pistons roster either. You know, it's like the minute Cade went down, everybody was in on, okay, there's this French guy, right? And look, yep. Every one of Wemby's highlights, you think the guy shoots 100% from three. He doesn't. He shoots less than 30% from three. But you'd never know that watching the highlights. But he is the guy. I don't get in on the generational thing, but because LeBron's kid and Wemby are roughly the same age, I guess this is Wemby's generation. As long as he's healthy, he's that guy. Like he is, he's a freak of nature. Like everybody knows it. There's nothing we can really say about it, and we're out on that. There's no way the Spurs pass on him. They're going to take him. It is what it is. You mentioned Brandon Miller. He'll be gone. Scoot Henderson will be gone. The Thompson brothers will be there. Cam Whitmore will more than likely be there. So who is? Let's go straight to number 5. We'll skip all that other nonsense. Who do you like at number 5?
Cam Whitmore. That would be my pick. That's
I love Villanova guys. I love watch Jalen Brunson. I love Villanova guys that come in. I know that some people might have a little Sadiq Bey, like I don't know. No, okay, I like Nova.
Let's start there. Let's do the Sadiq Bey thing. Cam Whitmore, way better athlete than Sadiq Bey. Not even close, Anthony. Way better. I don't have the numbers pulled up, but I've looked him up. He was better finishing at the rim as a young, and I know people don't always like to do the age thing, a young freshman than Sadiq was as an older sophomore. And Cam Whitmore has better potential on the defensive end. This kid came in as a young freshman. He was injured. Villanova's a mess this season. He still showed all the flashes you want to see. This kid, let me tell you this, Sam Bassini, who's very smart, very well respected in
Love
this
Sam.
draft. Sam is incredible. He, on a recent podcast, said that he may see a higher ceiling from Cam Whitmore than Brandon Miller. I don't necessarily completely agree with that, but if that's even being mentioned, that tells you the type of player the Pistons could get. And then here's the thing with the Thompson twins. Lots of I don't want to say lots of red flags, lots of question marks, lots of uncertainty because of where they played. Again, elite athletes with insane ceilings. So, again, the room for error is smaller. Weaver's got to find the right one of that crew and a few other players. But there's a player there that can really fit into this team and keep the organization. I guess some would say maybe it's not moving in a positive direction, but hopefully start moving in a positive direction.
So if Cam Whitmore goes in front of one of the Thompson brothers, and if you're out on either of them, then I would immediately just trust your word. I haven't seen them play. I haven't watched nearly enough of them in order to have a concrete, constructive opinion that I'll stand behind. You know, but I am a little bit of a goofball, and I will search the internet and scour it for Wembanyama. Like everybody else, I'm like, I'm not interested because I'm going to speak it from my mouth. It's going to go to God's ears, and that's what's going to happen. But now we have to prepare for what's next. Okay, if Cam Whitmore isn't there, guy by the name of Jarris Walker out of Houston, who listed as a power forward, 6'7", 233, front court player. Is that, like Cam Whitmore, more of that small forward? Does Jarris Walker have any potential small forward kind of wing defender in him, or is he more traditional power forward?
Okay, so I want to go. There's lots of questions about the Thompson twins. I would still take them in. So my personal Pistons big board right now is Cam and then a min. So if Cam went 4 to the Rockets, I would take him in at 5. And then I would be looking at probably Jarris Walker, who I do think is more of a 4, but there's some real versatility. There's especially defensively. I don't love him on the wing offensively. I don't know that I completely buy the shot yet, but he is a good passer. He moves well, does a lot of different things. But just a tough, hard-playing dude with some offensive upside and some real versatility defensively, some real switchability. You know, not quite as rough around the edges offensively as Isaiah Stewart. A couple other names. Taylor Hendricks is a guy, not a huge upside. Obviously, Asar Thompson. Those are kind of the guys you're looking at in this range now.
Oh, boy. All right, so then when we look at this range, we look outside. If Wemby is top tier, and then you have Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson there, maybe at like tier 2. We've got Whitmore, the Thompson twins, maybe Jarris Walker in tier 3. what happens if the board really gets messy? Then what do they do?
So another name is Anthony Black as well, who's probably the highest basketball feel guy in the entire class. Shooting, here's where it's a little bit concerning. None of those guys other than Taylor Hendricks, and I buy Cam Whitmore's shot, but I guess you could make an argument he's not a proven shooter. Like there's some questions around the shooting ability of the Thompson twins. They're also older. They're 20 years old, Anthony, playing against essentially high school competition. Anthony Black has questions around his jump shot. Hendricks is a guy that can really shoot it. So here's where why I feel somewhat comfortable. Wemby was in a tier of his own for me. Then I had Scoot and probably Brandon Miller in the same tier. My next tier, which would be tier 3, was Amin and Cam Whitmore. And then I had the rest of these guys that we've mentioned. So with them not being able to fall lower than 5, I felt somewhat okay with. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I still think there's a real potential for a good player at number 5.
So what would you say, looking at the Pistons roster the way that it's constructed today, right? I think that Duren should be the starting 5 no matter what. Nobody can talk me off that the athleticism, the willingness to pass, the I don't need the ball to be effective. He'll be a better challenger at the rim. Paul George said he is a bleepity bleep to try to block out. He's strong as a bull, strong like bull, as they say in the old country. I love that. I love Jalen Duren. I need more of that. I need a guy who's committed to the team and isn't worried about his own individual statistics. So I love him for that. I think that Cade at point guard will be fine when he comes back from his injury. I love James Edwards' article about how involved he was with the team. That was like a little carrot of hope there. I'm all in on Jaden Ivey. There's no questions there. Supreme athlete. He could play the 2 next to Cade. I think Cade opens up a lot more for him next year than what we saw with him this year. Bojan is our one professional shooter that we have on the team. The only guy that's what he's paid to do is shoot the ball. So what is the biggest need then? Because at the 4, is it James Wiseman who's more of a 5? Is it Marvin Bagley? Can you have Bagley and Duren? I mean, if I'm Marvin Bagley, if I'm coaching the Pistons, Bagley, I need you working 15 to 23 feet, and I need you to shoot the absolute hell out of the ball for the next, 3 months going into next season. That's where we need you to be. We need you to be able to stretch the floor. We need you to commit to, defending on that side of the basketball, but we need you to be able to shoot it as well as use your athleticism, and I think there's still a fit for him. I don't know why so many people have punted on Marvin Bagley.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm way more confident right now as it stands today in Marvin Bagley than James Wiseman, especially at the 4. I'm still holding out judgment on that trade overall, and I think Saddiq Bey is what he is. I think he's a role player off the bench, and there's value in that. I don't hate the trade overall. I'm just not sure James Wiseman is ever going to be the player that he was projected to be and all of those things. I just didn't see it. I liked a little bit more from what we saw from Bagley as terms of playing the 4. So this is where this pick really comes into play, Anthony, is if you take Jarris Walker, right? Well, I think your 4 spot is locked up. You got Jarris Walker, and then I think you continue with the Isaiah Stewart experiment at the 4. And then you can still give him some 5 minutes in small ball lineups, and then you have Duren, Wiseman, and Bagley to play the 5. So then you really want to go in strong on the wing position, either in free agency with $35 to $40 million in cap space to play with Bojan, behind Bojan, whatever. If you draft Cam Whitmore, well, now maybe you play Bojan at some 4. Maybe Bojan comes off the bench. Maybe he starts, but Whitmore gets a ton of minutes. And then you're looking for a 4-man. I'm not saying it has to be this guy, but someone like Grant Williams or somebody like that. You know who makes a lot of sense on this roster? Jeremy Grant. But how much are some of these guys going to cost? And I think that's what it comes down to is I don't know what the move in free agency is because I don't love a lot of the names.
Thank you. Everybody's like, oh, free agency right around the corner. I'm like, yo, look at the market that we have. Draymond Green, I don't think leaves Golden State, and a lot of people have talked about bringing him home. I don't know. I don't think his game translates to what Detroit is trying to do. So that to me is out. Westbrook out. Harden out. Middleton at this point too old. It was great when we had him, but he just wasn't that player. Kristaps, come on now. Like, with you nuts? D'Angelo Russell, he'll be back in L.A. I don't have any doubt about that. Love, Nikola Vucevic, but he's got bird rights in Chicago, so okay. Like, I don't see a name on this list outside of the guy that you named, Jeremy Grant. Would he be willing to come back for a rerun, but accept a role that's a little bit different than when we had him? We needed him to be the primary scorer. Now we don't need you to do that. We need you to be veteran leader. If that works for him, then that works for me.
Exactly.
If the price is right.
Exactly. So that's the thing. If he signed with Detroit, I would be ecstatic about it because he would know walking in, I'm the third fiddle at best. When he here's what's interesting. Like, and people have to understand, when he signed with Detroit, he was the man, Anthony. He was going to be the man, and then
all we had.
They traded. And then they didn't trade for Cade. They drafted Cade, and things changed, and all of that. And then he moved on. So if he came back, he'd know what he was going to walk into. So I do think he would fit really well there. And here's the thing. Here's what's really interesting. Portland landed at number 3. There's a real world where Scoot Henderson falls to 3. What's Dame going to do? Are they going to trade that pick? Are they going to trade Dame and say, you know what? We'll build around Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe. Well, does Jeremy Grant want to go back to Portland for that? Or would he rather move on somewhere else? There's only so many teams with cap space. And, so it just there's some different things that could shake out here. What about Portland? Here's another thing that we have to discuss over the next few weeks is, what about trading this pick? Maybe you could trade up. Maybe you want to get, if you want to get back, you're not going to get to 1. There's no way you're getting to 1. But maybe you could trade up. Maybe Portland wants some veterans, and you trade up to 3. Would you trade 5 straight up for OG Anunoby? That's a guy that got brought up on our live stream. Would you just trade up? Would you trade out of 5? Who knows what's going on in Toronto? They don't got a coach either. They're all over the place. Disappointing season. Would they want to trade OG? Is there a guy? There's always guys coming on the market. Not that 5's super attractive, but maybe somebody falls in love with the Thompson twins, Anthony. That's the interesting thing. There's some names of guys who teams could fall in love with because Amin Thompson is an elite, top 0.1% athlete in the NBA day one, and he can pass, and there's defensive upside. So there could be people that fall in love with that. Maybe you can get a package that with something and get a real player.
Damian Lillard to the New York Knicks. They get Julius Randle in return. They might get an R.J. Barrett. It might work out for everybody. I don't know. Just throwing dirt at the wall at this point.
Sure.
His name, Bryce Simon. Find him on Twitter at Motor City Hoops. Find him with Amari Sankofa, the Pistons Pulse. Hey, stay tuned to the Twitter as well. I heard there's a big article coming soon. Is this true?
Yes, there is, Anthony. It's. Let me say this. I write for Draft Digest. It's the most excited article, content creation. It's the most excited thing I've ever done. Like, I am giddy about getting this out to people. It has nothing to do with me. It's all about the story and who it's about. It's an incredible story. I'm so fortunate that I got it. It's something I haven't ever done, but I'm juiced. And so it should be coming out next week. And I know I'm boosting it, but I'm super excited about it.
No, if you're excited about it, we're excited about it. We're going to retweet the hell out of it, Bryce, because you're our guy.
I appreciate it.
As always, brother, thank you so much for the time, my man. We greatly appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Have a great day.
So maybe that brings a little perspective on what's going on with the Detroit Pistons. For Danny Galen, Ryan Elke, I'm Anthony Bellino. So long. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Plans for Mental Health Action Day? You do now. Join us online on Thursday, May 18th from 7 to 9 p.m. for In Tune, a free live stream event featuring performances and conversations with the Verve Pipe, Br0's, Carlos Sese, Cole Hansen, and more. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org to find out how you can log in and join the celebration for free. May 18th is Mental Health Action Day. Take action. Visit IUnderstandLoveHeals.org and join the celebration. It's vacation time, so you have alerted your post office, dropped the dog off at the kennel, and set the timer for the lights in your house. But did you call the police? Many of Michigan's police departments will check on your house regularly while you are away. Contact your local police department to see if this program is available in your area. Just one more service that Michigan's police officers provide every single day.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? you might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The 1-2. Right side, there it is! Hey, sports fans, here's a hanging curveball that you can knock out of the ballpark. This is Matt Shepard, the voice of Detroit baseball, inviting you to step up to the plate at Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile sports book where you can bet on all your favorites all year round, including, of course, our national pastime. So download the app and start winning today. Eagle Casino and Sports, made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Must be